Hey Survivor, welcome to episode 155 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. How you doing? This episode was inspired by my attendance at the murder trial this past week to support a friend who came into town for a couple days to testify. Yeah, and it was a very revealing time in the trial. We are going to get clarity on why narcissists are so hard to truly know. We're going to gain some insights into proximity, perception, and deception, and a reminder that real relationships do in fact exist, and they do in fact heal. And we will look at some evidence-based information along the way. But first, let's self-regulate with a 448 breathing exercise, if you'd like. And I invite you to settle into your seat, ground your feet, and we'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you notice in your body? Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey Survivor, welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. How well did you really know the narcissist? Oftentimes, survivors will say things like, how did I miss this? Who was this person? How could I have let this person into my life unchecked? What was I thinking? I did it. And let's be clear, you're smart. The narcissist is slick. You're not stupid. You were strategically misled. In fact, psychologists use a term called impression management. This is where the narcissist curates a persona and reveals different versions of themselves to different people, oftentimes all at the same time. And you'll get this idealized version, not the real deal. And that's on purpose. There's a 2002 study by Paulus and Williams, and it talks about how narcissists score high in manipulation, charm, and strategic self-presentation. And these traits make them appear to be more stable, trustworthy, even likable than they actually are. So don't beat yourself up. Now, let's talk about what happened this week. So the defense team in the murder trial flew my friend in, who's a doctor, and a group of friends, including myself, attended 2 days worth of hearings to support him. And I'll be honest, it was very heavy. It was surreal and very revealing, to say the least. And one of the big things that came out of the 2 days worth of hearings was that our friend didn't know everything. And he saw one particular version of the narcissist, and he was physically present with the narcissist only a couple times per year. Most of the communication was via phone calls, text messages, and email. Now, 8 years have passed since the murders, and like many of the witnesses who have testified, there are memory gaps, which are normal. And we've seen that during the hearings. People like, oh, I don't recall. Oh, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been 8 years. That's come up a lot. Now, for myself, as someone who experienced a lot of abusive behavior from the narcissist, I gave a full testimony directly to the prosecutor's detective, and I brought my daytimers. I had notes written in the margins. I had just, documentation of a lot of events, significant events that had taken place from the time that I met the narcissist up until after the murders. And so I was able to kind of lay all of that out and create a timeline and provide very specific details that, quite frankly, a couple of the witnesses forgot about regarding the narcissist and things that they did or said and patterns of behavior over the year and a half or so that I had dealt with this person. So at the end of the day, our friend didn't know because he couldn't know. The version of the narcissist that he experienced wasn't the same version that the rest of us were living with. And even amongst the rest of us, there were variations in the version that we were dealing with. So it's deep, but it's real, and you don't know what you don't know. Another thing that came out of all of this was just the idea that proximity matters. In fact, I mouthed that to my friend that was sitting next to me during the hearing. And psychologists refer to information asymmetry. And in this case, narcissists don't lie the same way to everyone, and they control the flow of information, to individuals and even among individuals within, say, the context of a community. And we saw that happen in this case. And people who, like my doctor friend, only encounter them occasionally will get a curated version of the narcissist. And this can create an illusion of consistency, innocence, even productivity, we learned as the hearings unfolded this week. And it's easy as survivors to blame ourselves for not knowing more and sometimes not doing more. But the reality is the structure, the game was rigged from the get-go. And when you're dealing with things like emotional distance plus physical distance, that creates, fragmented information, and it can warp your perception of things. You'll be left with a partial picture and just conflicting impressions. And not a whole lot to go on to be able to make like a wise, informed decision. You may even doubt your own perceptions. Question yourself. Okay, did I hear what I thought I heard? Did they say what I thought they said? Is it me? Is something off here? Like, it's so easy to just get confused. And ultimately, and to the narcissist's delight and advantage, as survivors, we can become over-reliant on their narrative. So whatever they say, we may take it at face value. And that's, in some ways, what happened in this case. Our friend took what was said to him, what was presented to him via text, over the phone, via email, at face value. And in a 2008 study by Brunel and company, it talks about how narcissists can actually excel in short-term relationships because their charm often outweighs their harmful traits when there's limited contact. And in long-term proximity, that's when the patterns emerge over time. But when there's just periodic contact, the deception of the narcissist can go on for years. And we saw that in this hearing, in this trial. So nothing to be ashamed of, but just the reality of how this can play out when you don't know who and what you're dealing with. And, trust and believe, a lot was revealed, even though that may have been the case, during the time of our friend's dealings with the narcissist. A lot more was revealed over the course of the hearings, and especially during cross-examination by the prosecutor. Now, the good news is there is healing in community, and we got to see that during our time supporting our friend who came to town to testify in the murder trial. And the beauty in this really awful situation, a very painful situation, embarrassing, the beauty of it all was that we were able to come together and support our friend. And he so appreciated that, was super grateful. And we got to share some meals, some plant-based meals at some local restaurants, and he really enjoyed that. My husband and I actually treated him to dinner one night. We enjoyed some great conversations, not about the trial while he was under oath, but just about life, catching up on kids, new ventures, and special projects, things like that, and really making some deep, real connection. And I think we all just benefited from that. It was just wonderful. And also, there was this realization, by our friend that he wasn't alone. And I think just the reminder even for those of us who are local that we weren't alone either. And we learned some things that we weren't aware of that came out during the hearings, that were exposed, especially during cross-examination and the presentation of certain pieces of evidence. And there was this feeling of solidarity, of just having friends, real friends who get it, and that we didn't have to put on airs for. We could just let our hair down, be ourselves, and just get gut level honest with our feelings. And the things that we learn from all this is a very hard lesson, I know, for me personally, in vetting people. And also there was this reminder of what healthy relationships look and feel like. They're based on things like honesty, humility, reciprocity, gratitude, and safety. Who doesn't want that? So at the end of it all, the narcissist didn't win. Their deception didn't erase the truth, and it strengthened the real relationships around you, just like it did for me. And that's a beautiful thing. So take heart. You weren't supposed to know everything. Narcissists build walls, write scripts, and create illusions. And your confusion is by design. Your trust is weaponized by the narcissist. But now your clarity is a form of protection. You have a community. You're participating in one by listening to this podcast. And I'm glad you're here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Your healing is happening every time you let truth rule and let go of the shame and the guilt and the self-blaming. Remember, their chaos confuses, your clarity refuses. Thanks for tuning in, Survivor. Your community matters. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.